Welcome to today's Explainer. We've been diving into some absolutely fascinating research on how we treat our minds and bodies, and it turns out we might be operating our own biological engines completely backwards. Today, we're going to focus intensely on the science of restorative efficiency, specifically mastering the 90-minute rhythm. It's all about optimizing your internal biology, focusing on pure quality over quantity, and figuring out exactly how to wake up completely fresh. So let's jump right in.
Okay, start here. Have you ever heard someone brag, "Oh, I only sleep 5 hours and feel amazing," while you might be clocking a solid 8 hours and still dragging yourself out of bed? It feels incredibly unfair, right? Like, what gives? But honestly, it's not magic, and it's definitely not luck. It comes down to hard biological science and psychology. To unpack this, our explainer is structured as a simple 3-part guide. First, we'll hit mastering the body, then escaping the tomorrow trap, and finally, the magnetism of calm energy.
Act 1. Mastering the body. Let's look at the actual biology of restorative efficiency.
Here is the real game changer. Your brain doesn't actually track total hours of sleep. Seriously, that 8-hour rule? Kind of a myth. According to sleep psychology, your brain tracks sleep cycles, and every single one of these cycles is exactly 90 minutes long. So your brain really only cares about the quality of those 90-minute blocks, not just the sheer volume of time you spend lying on your mattress.
When we look under the hood of those 90-minute blocks, 2 stages are doing all the heavy lifting for you. You've got deep sleep. That's where your body repairs muscle, strengthens the immune system, and pumps out growth hormone. Then you have REM sleep, where your brain is processing emotions, locking in memories, and boosting creativity. When those 2 are perfectly balanced, you get restorative sleep. And get this, you can honestly feel fully restored in just 5 to 6 hours. But if you look at fragmented sleep, where your rest is constantly broken up by blue light, caffeine, or just everyday stress, your brain never quite reaches those deep or REM stages properly. Your body might be resting, sure, but your mind, it never actually recovers. So, the ultimate secret to waking up fresh is just timing your alarm for the end of one of those cycles. Say you fall asleep at 11 p.m. Aiming for the 4.5, 6, or 7.5 hour mark lets your brain shift super smoothly from sleep back into alertness. Waking up right in the middle of a 90-minute cycle is exactly what gives you sleep inertia, that heavy, groggy, just totally sluggish feeling. It's all about letting biology work with you, not against you.
Now, to actually nail this perfect rhythm, you have to train your nervous system that it's safe to rest. We use the 3-2-1 power down method for this. Psychologists call it cognitive offloading. It's literally like closing the dozens of open tabs in your brain. So, 3 hours before bed, no heavy food, because digestion forces your body to stay active. 2 hours before, stop working, put the problems away. And 1 hour before, 0 screens. No blue light at all, because that blocks melatonin and basically tricks your brain into staying on high alert. Swap the phone for stretching, maybe some calm music. You're trying to shift those brain waves from active beta right into relaxed alpha waves.
And the beauty is, that biological momentum carries straight into your morning. The first 10 minutes after you open your eyes literally dictate your alertness for the entire day. The trick? Step outside right after waking up. And I mean, no checking your phone first. Exposing your eyes to morning sunlight activates serotonin, which instantly boosts your mood, and it completely resets your circadian rhythm. Throw in a little quick movement or a splash of cold water, and boom, you activate your sympathetic nervous system. That releases natural energy boosters like dopamine and norepinephrine. It clears the morning fog completely, and you don't even need a drop of caffeine.
All right, Act 2. Escaping the tomorrow trap. Let's dive into the psychology of action.
We've all had those nights, right? You tell yourself, okay, tomorrow I'm going to fix my habits, tomorrow I'm going to crush my goals. But then tomorrow hits and it looks exactly like yesterday. Listen, that isn't you just being lazy. Your brain is using a built-in psychological trick called temporal self-displacement. It literally separates your future self from your present self, almost like they're 2 completely different people. So when you say, "I'll start one day," your brain actually fully believes some other person is going to step in and do the hard work. It's a trap totally designed to protect your ego from the discomfort of putting in effort right now.
And it gets even more insidious. Your brain absolutely loves to just imagining making progress. Think about it. When you picture success or plan out the ultimate morning routine, your brain gives you a hit of dopamine, the feel-good chemical, just for thinking about making the change. That tiny little hit of satisfaction secretly replaces the actual action. You end up spending hours watching productivity videos, planning everything out, feeling super motivated, but you're confusing motion with progress. Psychologists call this the intention-action gap.
Basically, that gap between one day and day one is the difference between dreaming and doing. Because one day doesn't actually exist. It's just a mental lullaby keeping you asleep while time flies by. Your future self isn't going to suddenly magically appear with infinite discipline and free time. You have to build that version of yourself through what you do today. The longer you wait, the more your mind just turns later into never.
Which brings us to Act 3, the magnetism of calm energy. This is all about how we rewire the room. Have you ever met someone who doesn't seem to chase anyone, yet people just can't stop thinking about them? They're not just naturally lucky. It comes down to something called emotional gravity. Real attraction isn't about charm or having the perfect rehearsed lines. Psychologists show that calm, stable energy literally rewires the nervous systems of the people around you. We have these things called mirror neurons, and they subconsciously copy the emotions in our environment. When you are centered, when you're well-rested, others naturally sync up with your calm. They feel safe, grounded, and they start gravitating toward your energy without even realizing why.
It all boils down to the subconscious signal you're constantly broadcasting. Operating from a place of lack means you're always chasing validation, projecting neediness. But operating from abundance, that sends one silent, incredibly powerful message: I am complete. Everything from your tone of voice to your posture tells the brains of everyone around you, look, I don't need, I choose. And let me tell you, that emotional independence is one of the absolute rarest and most deeply magnetic traits a human can possess.
And this leads to something completely wild. People actually get a dopamine hit not when they have you, but when they anticipate you. It's a system called intermittent reinforcement. Actually, fun fact, it's the exact same psychology that makes us addicted to scrolling our social media feeds. When you maintain your own calm energy, and you aren't constantly begging for their attention, their brains start seeking out little hits of your presence. They literally start chasing that grounded feeling that you provide.
So how do you actually maintain that level of calm? It's purpose over people. You have to prioritize your direction over distractions. In psychology, they call this self-efficacy. It's that unshakable belief that your actions shape your world. When you're busy building something bigger than external approval, you naturally project leadership instead of neediness. The less you chase the world's validation, the more the world wants yours, simply because you're operating from a solid foundation of quiet, mastered confidence.
Which brings us to our final, defining choice. We've decoded those 90-minute sleep cycles to rebuild your brain. We've exposed the dopamine traps that keep you stuck procrastinating. And we've seen exactly how internal mastery creates undeniable outward magnetism. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up. Action creates clarity, not the other way around. Are you going to start building your biological engine today, right where you are? Or will you let one day remain a comforting lie while time just keeps moving on? The choice is entirely yours. Thanks for hanging out with me for this explainer, and I'll catch you in the next one.